Welcome to Gayatri Yoga, my friends. This is a quick 20-minute full body stretching routine that will help you to increase your flexibility and mobility in major muscle groups, in your joints, and make you feel better, more connected to your heart, and a little bit relaxed in your mind. We'll begin the practice from our child's pose, sending the hips back, lowering the hips as low as you can over the heels. So if the hips can touch the heels, that's great. If they're not touching, that's completely fine. Just observe where you feel the restriction. Is it the glutes? Is it the front of the hips? Extend your arms and lower your forehead down to the floor. Relax in your shoulders, your upper back. Breathing into your back body. Feeling your ribs expanding as you inhale. Contracting as you exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, lengthen through the left arm and walk your fingers all the way to the right. Feel a nice stretch on the left side, keeping your hips in the same position without moving. Inhale and exhale slowly, moving back to center. Lengthen through your right arm and then walk the fingertips all the way to the left and don't let your hips peel. This way you avoid the stretch. Keep your hips in the same spot. Maybe lift the base of the wrist. Feel a nice stretch on the right side. Inhale and exhale slowly, moving back to center. Have your forearms on the floor. Inhale, find the arch in your back, little arch. Exhale, press the floor away from you, round your back. Inhale, find the arch. Exhale, round, tuck the chin. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift the elbows. Roll the biceps out, lift through the heart, arch. Exhale, round. Tuck the chin. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Inhale, return to neutral. Bring your left palm to the center and open the chest, trying to open the heart and stack your shoulders in one line if you can, and circle your right arm back. Inhale, exhale, slowly lower your right arm down and switch sides. Right palm to the center. Press the palm into the mat. Begin rotating the chest to the left, trying to stack your shoulders, widen the collarbones, and circle your left arm back and up. Press the base of the palm, the area between your index and thumb finger, into the mat as you twist. Inhale, exhale, circle your left arm back and down to the floor. Again, pressing the palms into the mat, lift through the heart. Exhale, press into the mat and draw the pubic bone towards the ribs, rounding your lower back, upper back. Stretching your lower back. Stay here for a couple of breaths. And inhale, rising up towards the tabletop. Finding your cats and cows. Inhaling, finding the arch, lift through the heart. Exhale, press the floor away from you, rounding your back. Roll the biceps out, tuck the chin. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Inhale, return to neutral. Lift your right knee out to the side and extend your right leg. Add 5 pulses here towards the sky and feel your waist contracting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now cross your right leg all the way to the left, to the outer edge of the mat, and stretch through the right side. Stay here. Gaze towards the left foot. Inhale and exhale slowly. Lift your leg and step your right foot to the outside of the right palm. Keep pressing your left palm into the mat or the block. Open the heart to the right. Find your twist. Slowly rising up, staying twisted, sinking the hips to the floor, finding your twisted back bend, lifting your left arm up and trying to stretch to the left side through the ribs, your belly, your armpit. Breathe. Keep your core engaged. Inhale, rise up. Stay twisted to the right and maybe hook the elbow or your forearm and find a deeper twist. If you're hooking the elbow, press the palms together, root through the ball of the right foot into the mat and send your right shoulder back. Lengthen in your lower back, widen the collarbones. Breathe. Sink the hips as low as you can. And now, if you are hooking the elbow, you can release the hook. You can stay twisted. Find your balance, use the chair if needed, and carefully begin lifting your left foot for a quadricep stretch. Very, very carefully, using the belt if needed, holding onto the toes, the foot or the ankle, and reaching the heel to the glutes. Stay twisted. Maybe you would need some chair support, maybe touching the wall or maybe the block. Inhale and exhale, very carefully release, be careful with the knee, and slowly begin rotating the chest to the front and squaring the hips, sending the hips back, having the toes on the mat and rounding your back, tucking the chin. Inhale, bend the knee, lift through the heart, stretch your left hip flexor and shifting the hips back. Flex the foot, lift the toes and stretch your hamstring. Inhale, lift, sink the hips. Exhale, shift the hips back, flex the foot. Inhale, lift through the heart. Exhale, shift the hips back. One more time, inhale, lift. Exhale, shift the hips back. Use the block under the palms if needed. Lift through the heart, send the tailbone back. Begin compressing your belly towards the thigh, keeping your spine straight. Maybe you will have to stay on your fingertips to keep your spine straight. Dig the heel into the mat, flex the foot, and now roll the foot out and back to center. Out and back to center. Really push the heel into the mat and observe what's happening here in your lower back. Maybe you're at T-bend, connecting to the sensations. And back to center, and now to the left, back to center. Try not to compensate with the hips, don't move the hips, just the femur, the thigh bone moves to the left and back to center, and you're digging the heel into the mat. And now making circles. Breathe, reversing the movement and releasing the foot, releasing the toes to the floor. Keeping your left palm on the mat, keeping your right leg straight, maybe on the block. If you have the block and you're not able to touch the floor, have the palm on the block. And now circling your right arm through the front to the left, and now back, finding your back bend variation. Lift through the heart and push the pubic bone up to the ceiling, squeezing the glutes. Breathe. Inhale, exhale, slowly circle your right arm all the way to the left first. Feel a nice stretch on the right side of the body, then to the center. You can lift the right toes if needed. Feel a nice stretch in your lower back as you reach the right fingertips to the front. Fold over your right thigh for a moment as low as you can. Keep your left palm on the mat. Inhale, lift through the heart or the block. Maybe lift the base of the wrist twist for a moment. Observe what's happening in your IT band. Breathe. Inhale and exhale. Circle your right arm back down to the floor. Bend your right knee. And walk your palms away from your right thigh. And again, if you need the blocks under your palms, use the blocks. Shift the hips back and align the hip over the left knee and right knee over the ankle, 90-90 position. And now we are going to move back and forth. You can allow the knee to pass over the toes. We are focusing on the flexibility of the ankle. And now push the foot into the mat to send the hips back. And don't lift the toes. Don't allow the toes to lift. Inhale forward, exhale back. Inhale forward, stay twisted to the left, exhale back. Inhale forward, exhale back. One more time. Inhale forward, exhale back. Inhale forward, working the palms through the front and now all the way to the right. And again, 90-90 position. And using the blocks if needed. Beginning to move the hips to the front. Imagine you're trying to slide the mat to the back and you're sending the hips to the front and then push the mat to the front, push the foot into the mat, send the hips back. In and out. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale, slowly descending the hips to the floor and keep your left heel to the outside of the left hip. Lift through the heart. Be careful with the knee. If it's uncomfortable or painful, bring the block under the hips, or if there is too much pain, then release. Maybe bring the foot to the front. But if you can, stay here, lift. Lengthen, exhale, fold over the right thigh. Wherever you are, maybe you are here, focus on sending the sit bones back. Lengthen through your tailbone, through your lower back first, before you begin folding down. Breathe. And from here, wherever you are, flex the foot, push the heel into the mat, and roll the foot out and in. Out and in. Observe what's happening. Out and in. Slowly walk the palms back in. Having your right palm on the floor, begin lifting the hips. Squeeze the glutes and push the hips up. And now reach the right toes to the front and find your back bend variation. Circle your right arm to the right and back. Observe the sensations. Inhale, exhale, slowly lower the hips down. From here, you need to power up towards the left knee, to rise up towards the left knee and bend the right knee. Bring your right knee towards the left. Back to your tabletop and observe what's happening in your body and the sensations here on the right side and on the left. Are there any differences in your right hamstring and the left hamstring? Breathe here. Lift your left knee up and extend your left leg. So if you need to move away from the wall, move away from the wall. Extend your left leg and now begin pulsing. Flex the foot, squeeze the glutes and pulse for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Feel the activation in the side of the body. And now send your foot back and cross the leg over the right, all the way to the right edge of the mat or even farther, and feel a nice stretch on the left side. Observe the sensations. Look at your left foot. Inhale and exhale very carefully. to twist and bring your left knee towards the right, back to your tabletop. When you're ready, step your left foot to the outer edge of your right palm. Having your right palm on the mat, twist to the left. Breathe here. Engage the core. Inhale, rising up, staying twisted, and now find your twisted back bend and focus on stretching here at the front of your right hip. As you sink the hips down, lengthen through your chest, lifting through your right armpit, and then lean back as low as you can. Engage the glutes. Squeeze your inner thighs towards one another for balance. Inhale, rising back up to neutral. Stay rotated towards the left. Bring your right elbow to the outside of the left thigh and staying here, pressing the palms together or having your forearm and staying twisted. Sinking the hips as low as you can. Breathe. Inhale, release the hook on the elbow, and now prepare for your quadricep stretch. Be careful with the knee, roll the mat for extra cushion if needed, and trying to bring the weight away from the kneecap kind of to the front, so you would need to focus on sinking the hips a little lower. And then begin lifting your right foot up, up, up. You can flex the foot first and use the strength of your glute and hamstring to pull it closer before you grab it. Or using the belt, it's a little challenging for your balance. Squeeze your inner thighs. Breathe. Inhale. Exhale, very carefully release. And slowly rotate the chest to face the front and frame your front foot. Shift the hips back, keep your toes on the mat, and begin rounding through your back, tucking the chin. Inhale, lengthen, and begin lifting the toes, flexing the foot, aligning the hips over the right knee. Straighten your right leg as much as you can and begin the movement from your pelvis. Send the sit bones back, and you would already feel a deeper stretch here in your leg if you keep pushing the heel into the mat. And maybe this is enough for you. Breathe. You can move forward and back. Inhale, lifting through the heart. Exhale, send the hips back. Inhale, lift through the heart. Exhale, send the hips back. Inhale, lift through the heart. Exhale, send the hips back. Inhale, lift. Exhale, send the hips back. Aligning the hips over the back knee. Straighten the leg. Micro bend in your left knee. Dig the heel in and reach the toes towards the chest. And try to straighten the back using the blocks under the palms if needed, or maybe fingertips on the mat. Breathe. And as you push the heel into the mat, flex the foot and roll the foot out and back to center. Focus on pushing through the ball of the foot, under the thumb, under the big toe, towards the front. Dig the heel in and then roll. And observe what's happening where you feel it. Push the heel in, straighten the back. And back to center, and then inward, trying to create the movement with your thigh bone. Push the heel in. Maybe it's not going to be a big movement, just observe where you feel the restriction. And now making big circles. So point the toes as you go to the front. And then reversing, flex the foot and dig the heel in. Circle, circle. To the left, very slowly when you go to the left. Observe the sensations in this spot. And then again to the front. Flex the foot. And now roll back to the opposite direction. Try not to move the hips. Very hard. Observing the sensations. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold over the left thigh. And from here, having your right palm on the mat, begin circling your left arm to the front. You can drop your left toes, and to the right, very slowly, you can lift through the base of the right wrist and circle your left arm through the right and back, and push the glutes up towards the ceiling, stretching the front of your hips, your belly. Be careful with your balance. Observe the sensations. Squeeze the glutes. Inhale. Exhale, slowly circle your left arm through the back, to the right and to the front. You can lift your left toes, folding over the left thigh. Stretching your hamstring one more time. And keeping your left palm on the mat, finding a twist. Adding your IT band stretch. Circle your left arm back and down to the floor, bending the front knee. Sink the hips and walk your palms away from your left thigh all the way to the right. Breathe here and focus on the sensations at the side of the body. Breathe into the ribs, expanding the ribs, your lower belly, your lower back. And from here, begin aligning your hips and knees into a 90-90 position and staying low to the floor on the fingertips or the blocks. Inhale, sink the hips to the front, and exhale, you push your left foot into the mat, pushing yourself back. And don't lift the left toes, they want to lift, and maybe you will not even be able to straighten the left leg. That's fine, don't let the foot move. Inhale, front, exhale, back. Maybe this side feels a little easier or more difficult. Inhale, bend, press through the ball of the left foot into the mat. Inhale, sink. Exhale, back. Press your lower right foot into the mat. Inhale, sink to the front. Exhale, back. Inhale to the front. Slowly move the palms to the front, through the center, and then all the way to the left, realigning yourself to a 90-90 position. And then having your arms all the way to the left, you would already start feeling a nice stretch here on the side of the ribs and beginning to move back and forth. Push your left foot into the mat. Imagine you're trying to push and slide it back, and it's going to help you to move to the front. You're engaging your deep frontal line. Inhale and exhale, push it back. Have your toes on the mat. Inhale to the front. Exhale, back. 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 And from here, keeping your left fingertips on the mat, circle your right arm to the left and up, finding your back bend. Lift through the hips. Exhale, circling your right arm to the left You can lift the toes back to center, descending your hips down, keeping your right heel to the outside of the hip. Using the block under the hips if needed. Inhale, lengthen, beginning the movement from your hip joint and reaching your belly button towards the thighs. Lengthen, 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 and then fold. Inhaling, lifting the chest halfway up. Exhale, returning to neutral. And now bring your left palm to the floor. Begin pushing the hips up. Press your lower right leg into the mat. And point your left toes to the floor to rise up. Use the block under the left palm if needed. And stretch the front of your body into your back bend variation. Push the hips up, and especially through the front of your right hip. Send the quadricep towards the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale, slowly circle your right arm to the left, lowering the hips down. And from here, you again powering up, engaging your core, your pelvic floor. Push your right knee into the mat, the whole lower leg, and bringing the left toes to the floor to rise up. Bring your left knee towards the right, taking a moment to observe how your back body feels and making big, big, big circles with the hips. And slowly sending the hips back, opening your knees wide, and sinking and resting in your child's pose. If you have enough time to spend in your shavasana, please lower down to your back and rest in your shavasana pose. Sealing the energy cultivated during this quick practice. And if you're ready to finish the practice with me, moving your palms in. Bringing the palms towards the heart, taking a moment to observe how you feel. Observe the awareness here around your waist, in your lower body, in your hips, your hamstrings, your quads, your upper back. Thank you guys for joining me for this yoga practice. I hope you were able to connect to your body, and if some moves were a little difficult for you, please don't get discouraged. We have to keep practicing in order to improve. Just notice where you have the restrictions, where you are not able to move smoothly and kind of flow through the moves. You need to pay attention to those areas, and as you keep practicing, you will improve and feel better in those areas. Less restriction, more freedom, especially in your hips. These movements with the hips that we did, they are very challenging, but as you keep practicing, you will notice big improvements. So thank you again for watching. If you enjoyed this video, share with friends, subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, turn on the notifications. And if you would like to recommend this practice to other yogis who are searching through YouTube, press the like button for everybody to know that it's worth trying. Until we practice again, Namaste.